Here we go.
Episode 3.
Episode 3. Let's jump right in, shall we, Joe?
You got it, Steve.
I don't remember what we were going to talk about.
Today we want to talk about ways that a marketer can build trust in the state and local GovTech market.
Yeah, I think we've been around this for a while, both you through your research and us through our... Who's you and us, really, when you think about it, right?
One team here, guys.
Right.
Got about 30 years.
Easily 30 years of experience. So I think one thing I hear from the government side of the house is they want to see commitment to the market, right? I think they are troubled by companies that jump into government and then don't stay very long and leave. I think one thing the public sector looks for is kind of a long-term commitment to the market. You're going to stay here, you're going to do this for a while.
One of the best practices that we've observed is for vendors to create case studies. How does a vendor go about creating a case study?
Well, the nice thing about the government market is there is not the competitive sort of secrecy that you see in the commercial space. So normally a successful customer, somebody who's using a tool or a solution they like, do want to tell their story around that success. I mean, it's good for the people that are doing these projects to promote the idea that they're doing something useful, that they are providing value through some new technology. So I think there's a willingness and a kind of a need to tell that story. I mean, one of the things that we certainly advise public officials to do at e.Republic is, I mean, you need to market your success. And this is a way for governments to market their success. I mean, they can work with their technology partners to tell this story on a broader stage.
Oftentimes, I know I happen to be on the phone with a new vendor who doesn't have any traction in this market, but they've got a lot of projects that they've done in other sectors, be it the private sector, the financial industry. If they're looking to get into the government market, can they translate that content from another industry into our market and make that a relevant message?
I think they can. Obviously, it needs to map to public sector, but I think there are a lot of places in the commercial world where public sector wants to steal those ideas. We hear tons about customer experience, this idea that good online retailers provide an experience the government wants to emulate and citizens expect and demand. So relevant ideas out of that space easily translate and I think are almost welcomed, right?
I agree. I think that with a crop of CIOs across the country having come from the private sector themselves into the public sector, having some of those case studies, be relevant, but be there, still has a tremendous amount of value. I think the important part, though, is ensuring that they're relevant and speaking the right language for the government audience.
Right.
You can very easily just assume that the content that you have from the financial industry or from another industry speaks the same, with the same terms, and that's not the case.
And I think you want to be careful. I mean, the tone you use to tell that story needs to be thought out. You do not want to come off as sort of belittling or talking like the private sector. Right, everything's wrong with government. Government guys don't understand this. I mean, normally the folks in government very well understand the issues and the technology around this, but they're in an environment where this is simply harder to do. So I think you can't come in kind of preaching to them that, hey, you really need to get smart like the commercial guys, but you need to come in sort of understanding their own challenges and how these ideas really do map, and gives them some useful help around how to implement them.
So be relevant,
right?
Be original, and look at all your past experience and determine how that can be leveraged to message to the state and local government market.
I guess those are the tricks. Nope.
Guess
it's
what?
not really a trick,
No,
really.
it's more of a tip.
I mean, that seems
More
like
of insight.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a
helpful hint.
Valuable insight.
Valuable
lesson
insight.
learned.
Yeah. All right. There's a little bit of perspective on some of our lessons learned in the GovTech market.
So we'll see you next time on Mixed Results. He's Joe.
That's Steve. This is Mixed Results.